if you guys know, this is not a political podcast, but it can get pretty political sometimes. Especially this episode, we talk about Charlie Kirk. You know what happened exactly, right? Especially since it happened on the 10th, September 10th, the same day that the government, decided not to release the Epstein files, quote unquote. Right? Anyway, yeah, we talk about crazy stuff like that. We also talk about the Trump administration, immigration. There's a lot of crazy stuff going around in the world. And, many people can't have a conversation like that because they start fighting, right? They're like, oh, the left this, the right that. Rrr. No. Today, we have a casual conversation about politics and crazy stuff going around in the world today. So, anyway, appreciate you listening and enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Screaming Chewy Show. We're here in VR with The Honorable. Welcome back, bro.
What's up?
Last podcast we did, it was you and your girl, M.
Mm.
Shout out, M. And yeah, look, check this out. We're in a podcast studio in VR. Pretty crazy, huh? But yeah, actually, you had this idea, and you have a lot of things you want to talk about, and so tell me all about it, bro. Tell me all about it.
All right. So for the first thing, I would just like to say that, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk,
Mm-hmm. Rest in
and
peace.
that I don't care what anybody really else wants to say, but he didn't deserve it. There's no reason that
I agree.
anybody should get shot over opinions. He didn't have any power or position, and even if he did, it's like
It's facts,
he got shot
100%,
over
bro. He
opinions.
did not deserve that.
And one of the things that pisses me off is when people are saying that, like, because there are people out there
Mm-hmm.
who are calling the shooter a hero,
Mm-hmm. There is.
who are celebrating the fact that he lost his life and shit. And those are the people that us as a society should be worrying about. We shouldn't be worrying about people like fucking Charlie Kirk. We should be worrying about people who are celebrating his death.
You're right. You're right. He left his family behind. You know what I mean? Two kids,
Mm.
they're never gonna see their dad ever again because he had opinions.
Mm. And in front of him, like, they saw him.
Oh, they were
They
there.
were there.
His
They were
family.
there.
Oh my god.
His family was there. When the gunshot went off, if you look at the aftermath, his daughter is there, and she started to run towards him for
Oh
safety.
my god, bro. Oh my god. Wow. And is there any information of why this guy did it? Like, was it just because he didn't like him, or his
That
opinions?
that is what there's no um there's no motive yet, but that is the, like, right there, like,
Mm-hmm.
um because I know for the college he went to, there was a petition that said that we didn't want him here, but the college allowed him there anyway because under the First Amendment right that he has the right to go there and debate
Mm-hmm.
and shit. And so the what the lead motive is and the suspected motive is that literally over a fucking opinion.
That's
And
fucking wild.
it's suspected to be, a group of people, whether they were in on it or not, because I know one of the older guys, you've seen, like, shot on the news of them detaining people and shit.
Yes, yes. That old man
Like
when they carried him away.
the old man,
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. There's no proof that he did it. But what he was saying as he was being arrested and, you know, to go in for questioning, is he was saying he would do it again. He would do it again and shit like that.
Wait, what? That doesn't make sense.
Because it's a suspected group of people, as in, like,
Oh, so he was
they saw
involved,
it
but he didn't.
happen.
Mm.
Like, they saw it happen. I'm not saying, like, because I'm not saying necessarily he was involved, like he had the talk, you know, it was a group of people that were all involved, had the talk with each other. It's just a group of people saw it happen. They didn't like the guy like that as well, so they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna like fucking stand in and fucking cause obstruction of justice and shit because there was arrests for obstruction of justice that did happen.
Wow. So they were like a distraction, basically.
Yeah. Um,
Wow.
Another thing that pisses me off is people taking quotes that he has said
Mm-hmm.
and stopping them to make him seem like a bad guy. Like the empathy quote. You know
I
what I'm
seen
talking
that.
about?
Yep, I seen that.
You you have heard and you have seen the start of it, which is him saying that he doesn't dislikes empathy and that it's a new age term that he thinks does a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you probably see it cut off.
Yep. Yep.
I'm gonna paraphrase because if you go to look it up, no news, no nothing gives you the full fucking quote.
Nobody's
It
corrected it.
mentions it. It mentions it. Like if I look it up, it'll mention it, like do a brief mention of what he says afterwards,
Mm.
but it doesn't give you the full fucking quote. And the full
Especially the
fucking quote,
media.
because so I'm gonna paraphrase because
Mm-hmm.
I know the full quote, but I don't know it to the fucking
Mm-hmm.
dome.
Mm-hmm.
But he says the thing about empathy, and then he goes to say how he much prefers sympathy and compassion rather than empathy, because the definition for empathy is to make it so that you are taking yourself and putting yourself in the other person's shoes,
Mm-hmm. You feel them.
and basically saying, like, it's almost like trying to relate to them
Mm-hmm.
when sometimes you can't relate to the person. And I feel like it makes sense because if you use empathy in the wrong way, it could, you know, piss somebody off ultimately.
Facts.
And the thing with sympathy, the definition for sympathy is to understand somebody's pain
I love
and be
that.
there for them and to
Mm-hmm.
understand somebody for their pain and shit and
Mm-hmm.
compassion. And, that's the and we wanna go and take the fucking first half of the quote to make him look bad when we got the rest of the quote that
Yeah,
you
it's
understand what
deep
I'm
and
saying.
wholesome, and they made it sound cold, basically.
Hmm. And then the um the other one I wanted to look at that a lot of other people fucking use a lot is the one that he said on the Second Amendment.
Oh yeah, yeah, about the yeah, yeah, the gun laws and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. Um, because again, I don't know all this shit off the top of my dome.
Bro, by the way, what the fuck is this tiny ass little plant right there? Looks like a shot. I can't grab
So, the the one thing that they just like take out of the entire context
it. Mm-hmm.
of it is the him saying, and this is a direct quote, I'm not paraphrasing here. I think it's worth to have a that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our
Oh
other
wait, hold
God-given
on.
rights.
You're gonna have to
Okay,
start over,
and
bro.
that's the
You glitched out a little bit.
okay. Okay, so quoting again, I think it's worth to have a cost of unfortunately some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Okay, and that's the piece that people like to rip out of context
Mm-hmm.
to make them look bad. And I feel like, yeah, it's, you know, bad said, poorly worded, Yeah. But in other debates and other quotes around the central topic of
Mm-hmm.
the Second Amendment and gun safety, he has, again, I'm going to paraphrase because if I go to look this up, I doubt I'm going to find anything about it. Um, because news stations and media likes to fucking find the bad and everything and fucking
Oh yeah,
use
stir
that
the
instead
pot.
of.
Definitely gets more views.
But he has said before that he has advocated to not give gun rights to those mentally ill or those
Mm-hmm.
danger to themselves or others. In another case, he has specifically said that guns aren't meant to hunt. They aren't meant to, you know, and then he says because for he goes back to what the founding fathers said in our amendments,
Mm-hmm.
the right to an rightfully armed militia, I believe is the,
Yep.
but what
So
that is and what that means, and it's still debated about today what it fucking means, but what most people think it means is the right for the people to be armed to stand up to their corrupt government, which is
yep.
again what they were doing at that time was they were armed to stand up to a corrupt government. And
Yep.
then
That's exactly what the Second Amendment was made for. Yep.
see, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want to, but liberals are very like weird with how they want to handle shit because they say, gun laws and shit, and we
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't have guns. And then they're also less power for the government.
Mm,
And
if
with the
we,
Second Amendment attaching to the right to stand up to our government,
mm-hmm.
and we want to do gun laws and take away everyone's guns, that gives more power to the government.
Definitely. Yep.
That gives them more and more capability to stand above us than they
Oh, for
already
sure.
are.
For sure. Just like
And
oh, continue.
no, you're good.
But
Go ahead, man.
um but yeah, a little bit on that the Second Amendment, right? I highly recommend a book. Shout out Roderick Edwards. He wrote a book called How to Overthrow a Government, right? And it's an
Mm,
example of throughout history of when people stood up for themselves and won against the government, right? Now this is
mm,
revolutions, from the American Revolution, civil wars, right? Or even small cases. Like I can't
mm,
remember exactly what year, but it was like 2010s era, right?
mm,
It was in Nevada. This guy owned a lot of property. He had cattle, right?
mm,
And they free roamed, right? He had a huge
mm.
property. And so I guess next to his property, there was government property, but it was not fenced off, right? And it was private
Yeah,
property. Well, his cows would graze and go eat that grass, right?
yeah.
So he got a letter from the government saying, hey, your cow's been eating our grass. You owe us all this money. And he said, fuck you guys, right? So they
Mm,
said, okay, well, we're going to send our agents over to you and talk to you, right?
mm,
Typical
yeah,
government being the bully, right? And so this got big. Word went around, and all his neighbors and locals, they caught word. The media caught wind of it, right? It became a big deal. Now, on the way to his house, there's like a ridge, right? Before you
mm,
get to the property. So law abiding citizens literally camped out in his property with guns, legal guns that they owned, paperwork, right?
mm,
Waiting for the government to show up. They even had snipers posted on the ridge. They're waiting for them to show up.
mm,
Government never showed up, bro. But Imagine they didn't have guns or the right to bear arms. What would have happened? It
Mm.
would have ended a lot differently. I promise you that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I get it though. And me, like, I'm not left or right. Like, I don't like either sides, bro. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I don't. But I could see points of views from both sides. But I think the problem is there's too many extremists, right? Because,
Mm.
like, if you ask me, like, I could tell you things I like from this side and that side, and the things I hate from both sides, right?
Mm.
But I see so many people arguing, oh, the left this, the left that, or the right this, the right that. It's like, they get so infatuated, like
Mm.
fans that are obsessed with their football team and they hate every other football team. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like, bro, you're obsessed over like a group of people that are rich and literally don't give a fuck about you. You know what I mean? That's what it comes
Mm.
down to, if you ask me. Just my opinion, though. You know what I mean?
Mm. And I've seen people like say, "Oh, I'm not an extremist," and shit. And in my words, and I think this is like what everybody should think an extremist is somebody who thinks that they're right, their side is right all the fucking time, and they
Mm-hmm.
won't sit down and have a fucking conversation. And
Facts.
there's too many, way too many people that nowadays can't sit down, have an adult conversation about their opinions, their feelings on a matter
Yep.
without needing to raise their voice, thinking that they're higher than the other person, or thinking that just because they don't agree with them means that, oh, well, no, they hate it. Because I have seen a lot of accounts where people now, especially with, and it's not, it's recently, but it's not recently at the same time with the LGBTQ community and shit like that, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, if you don't support us, then you're rooting. No, I'm not rooting for your downfall.
Yeah.
It's just, and I don't have to agree with you. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to support you in the matter that you want support in, but that doesn't mean ultimately that I hate you as a person.
Facts.
That doesn't ultimately mean that I don't want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that I just don't meet eye to eye with you on the matter.
Yep. I agree. I agree.
That's just me using as an example though. I'm for the LGBTQ rights and gay marriage and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes back to me talking about how I was gonna go through the Discord.
All right. And then, so you were getting into the group, right?
I was
Discord?
getting into the Discord, and I want to start with what like I love Jacket Man, but him saying that he was a neo-Nazi
Oh, he did
that
say that.
constantly argued with teenagers and shit talk trans lives, gay marriage, and anyone of a different race. I'm just gonna walk down the line. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
there's no proof he was a neo-Nazi. He
Yeah.
didn't do anything that made him a neo-Nazi. We're just saying it to fucking say it,
Mm-hmm. I
and
agree.
that's another problem. We just throw homophobic, transphobic, and all that shit around to where the point where it doesn't even fucking mean anything at this point because we're just
Yeah.
throwing it around.
We're throwing labels with no proof.
um, Constantly argued with teenagers. He went to colleges. The ages for colleges can vary from my age, 18, to fucking
To my age.
what we saw to your age, to even fucking further.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure, the majority of people that talked to him seemed young because younger people nowadays are more, and I think any are more interpreted to go out there and fucking speak and
Mm-hmm.
shit.
especially
But it wasn't
nowadays.
fucking teenagers. It wasn't fucking teenagers. He didn't shit talk trans people. He didn't. He specifically, and gay marriage and all that, he specifically, like I stated earlier, he has talked to many of the group and many of the variety. And what I've seen on him talking to somebody about gay marriage rights is him saying, or like the hate for gay marriage or the hate for the LGBT community.
Mm-hmm.
He specifically stated, no, I don't hate those people. But I don't agree with them
Mm.
because he's talked about it. He's a very religious person. He believes that the ideal of marriage is a relationship between a male and a female,
Mm-hmm.
and that based on what is written in the Bible and shit, which is, male and female.
Yep.
And he also goes on to say, but he doesn't hate them. He just doesn't agree with them. And again, back to what I was saying, people tend to now feel like just because there's a disagreement, there's hate involved, and there's all this shit involved when it's really not. It's just a fucking disagreement.
Yep. Fun fact
And
about the Christians not liking or agreeing with gay marriage. You know what's funny? In real life, I've met so many Christians that don't agree with gay marriage because they say it's a sacred bond between a man and a woman, right? But half of them cheat on their wives. How sacred, bro? You know what I mean? Just saying, just
mhm.
saying. They're not all like that, but I met a few people.
And then, as for the one of anyone of a different race, he has specifically stated, I forgot what the company was called or what the group was called, but he is part and funds a group that gives jobs to, like, what is it fucking called? Like, I forgot what it is financially called, like middle and lower
Middle and lower
class,
class.
middle and lower class African American families
Oh wow, I
to
did
help
not know
improve
that.
that structure. And again, nobody's fucking quoting that shit. No one's fucking.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know that is because I fucking followed the dude. I fucking watched what he had to say, not because I fucking agreed with him, just because the fact that I can sit down and listen to someone's opinions without getting frustrated about them
Yep.
and just stating that I disagree with this one or I agree with that one.
Say that's how it
It
should be.
helps society, if everyone can do that, helps society grow as a whole, because we go from disagreement to disagreement to maybe we can compromise on this, we agree on this, maybe we all as a whole disagree on this, to another compromise,
Yep, I agree with you 100%, bro. And you know what's funny? Those people, I'm talking about the ones that can't listen to somebody that and they don't agree with them, but they get so mad, bro, and start pointing fingers. Like
Mm.
if I talk about Trump is in the Epstein files, which there's proof, right? They get so mad and they're like, "Oh well, go suck Biden's dick, or you like Hillary, or you like Obama," and I'm like, I don't
Mm.
like any of them. Fuck all of them. Now they don't know what to say.
See, here's the funny thing. There's proof, but yet there's not proof
Well,
of
his
Trump
name
being
just
on the
got
Epstein
redacted
files.
by the FBI.
But at the same time, with the um the survivors
Mm-hmm.
or the
The Epstein
people who were
survivors. Yeah.
on the Epstein survivors, they've publicly talked, and they have publicly saying that Trump has no part of it, and that they even asked for Trump's help. So there's this weird line between is there proof or is there not proof, and I can
Mm-hmm.
get both sides, but it's that middle ground.
Yep. Because there's a lot of information they're withholding. You see, knowledge has power, right?
Mm,
That's why they keep that knowledge from us. So the fact that his name was on the list and now the FBI redacted it, now his name is classified information on those files, kind of
mm,
sus, right?
mm.
But not just him, everybody else in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of sus. But um yeah, I've done a lot of not a lot of research on it, but like the birthday book, Epstein's, like
Mm,
all these celebrities, they wrote happy birthday and they wrote like weird stuff, bro. Like
mm.
subliminal stuff, like they had a code. Like it's so weird, it's creepy, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole thing's weird, right? Like Epstein's
Mm,
girlfriend, what's her, Ghislaine or Maxwell or whatever? I might have fucked up
mhm.
her name. But remember, she went to court, right?
Yeah.
She was gonna give the list, and then they
Mm.
go, "Oh, there is no list." And then now they're like, "Oh, you know what? There is a list, but they didn't do anything." Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you 100%, bro. Charlie did not deserve that. Like, no matter if you agree
Mm,
with what he said or not, like, even if he did hate on those people, he still didn't deserve to
mm.
die. You know what I mean? Even if he was a Nazi. Okay, no, if he was a Nazi, he would deserve to die. Never mind. But but yeah, man, and it's fucked up. And it's gotten so big now that
Mm,
um South Park took down their episode of him, but I read that it wasn't South Park creators, it was actually Comedy Central that decided to take that episode down. Which is
mm.
wild, bro. That's wild.
Yeah.
But I heard that he liked that episode. You know what I mean? He thought it was funny.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
what's next, right? Now there's other people. I forgot his name. Totally forgot his name. But he's another one of those debaters and he's pretty big. He's a Trump supporter. He canceled his next debate,
Mm,
his next tour at a college. So like, nowadays, like what's gonna happen now? Like what? You can't have an opinion now without getting shot? Like what
mm.
happened to freedom of speech? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And for the people who are like, well, because his opinion's this, and all
Mm-hmm.
that, and it's like celebrating that he got shot and shit for just
Mm-hmm.
for his opinions and to silence him.
Yeah.
And some of those people are so worried about those opinions for the fascist ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
You celebrating the fact that he got silenced is a fascist ideology.
That is facts. That's ironic actually, but that's true. That's very true.
Mm,
Yeah, silencing anyone for their opinions. I mean, you know what I mean? That's racism. You know what I mean?
mm,
The Jim Crow laws. African Americans couldn't do this, do that. If you stop somebody from doing something, then yeah,
mm,
you know what I mean. But and I just hope they find justice. I hope they find this guy. And
mm,
but I think it's pretty fucking crazy, bro. Like, do you do you think he had a rifle or a pistol? I think it had to be a rifle. Cause first off, that was a good fucking shot. And if it was a
mm.
pistol, I think if you're in the crowd, once you pull it out, people are gonna freak out before you even shoot. You know what I mean?
Um, they actually did recently today release CCTV footage of after the shooting of someone climbing off the roof, a
Ooh.
roof of a building.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't in the crowd. I think they were,
Had to be a rifle, definitely. Yep.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. And for those of you curious, if you haven't seen the video, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I seen worse, but it's still pretty fucked up, man. Just seeing
Mm.
somebody get hit in the neck and just gush, like, it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. And you know what's funny, bro? Before this happened, I've seen so many of his videos pop up on my algorithm so
Mm.
much. Like, and he was getting big too, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But that's just, I'm still blown away, bro. But it's, and now all these people are gonna say that guns are the problem. Right now they're gonna want to do more gun laws and stuff like that.
Mm.
But like, just look at the states that have stricter gun laws. Look at their crime, bro. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. You know?
New Mexico. New Mexico has the highest crime rating
Oh, do
in the
they?
entirety of the United States. Yeah.
Damn. I thought it'd be like, I don't know, Detroit or like
No,
Chicago or
it's
something.
New Mexico.
That's wild. Wait, so they have pretty lenient gun laws though, right? Like Arizona, are they similar to Arizona, their gun laws?
But there's a shit I gotta look up.
Yeah, bro, because I mean, here in Arizona, we have pretty lenient gun laws. Like, you
I
don't
know
even,
Arizona and Texas has pretty lenient.
yeah, like you don't even need paperwork as long as you're not a felon or mentally ill. Like, I could literally be like, "Happy birthday, bro," and just hand you a gun. It's yours. That's it. But I don't know. You ever heard that saying? I might fuck it
But
up, right? I might butcher it, but it's that a armed civilian is a peaceful one or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like
mm,
if you're armed and your neighbor's armed and you guys both know it, you're gonna be pretty peaceful towards each other. You know what I mean?
mm, yeah. So I just looked it up. New Mexico does seem to be pretty lenient. You do not need a permit to open carry a loaded or unloaded weapon.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, you need a permit to conceal carry.
Okay. So they're kind of
Uh,
like here in Arizona, except here you do not need a permit to conceal carry.
yeah. And the thing that is is guns are the tools.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the thing necessarily killing people. They're the tools used to by
Yep.
other people. So it's people killing people, however you think about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like for example, other tools are knives, even someone's
Acid.
fists, acid. Literally anything that is dangerous to another human being is a tool. Gun. The reason why a gun is a big topic and a big discussion is because it's the most used one,
Yeah. Yep.
second to a knife.
Yep.
And the thing is I've seen the one fucking video of this one girl is like, so bread doesn't make sandwiches, people make sandwiches, and like, yeah, because people do make sandwiches. I have made a sandwich without bread before. It's fucking possible.
Dude, I've done it with bell peppers.
Yeah.
And it's like saying like forks make people fat. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And
Yep.
this might not be the same, but there's more people that die every day from heart disease, diabetes, and think of all this crap that they put in our
Mm.
food and it's allowed by the FDA. A lot of the
Mm.
ingredients we eat are illegal in Europe and other countries because they know it causes cancer.
Like
But
Red 40.
exactly, red 40, yellow, number 5, I believe. There's so many carcinogens and so much crap in our food. But the FDA, which is the Food and Drug Administration, which are in
Mm.
charge of bad stuff not being in our food, right? They
Mm.
they're the ones who are in charge of what to allow to be in our food. They allow all that, but it's because of lobbying, right?
Mm.
They
Yeah.
somebody rich, they hire people to get their ear and pass that law, and they can make a cheap product to make money off it. Who cares if people die? They're gonna die slowly. It's not like they're gonna get shot instantly like a gun,
Mm.
But still, I think a lot of people really need to focus on the bigger picture. Cause yeah,
Mm.
I mean, it's pretty easy. It can be pretty easy to buy a gun. It can be, right?
Mm.
But they just how many good people legally have had a gun for 40 years and never killed nobody, you know what I mean? But they
Mm.
focus on the bad. That one person that got a gun legally, or not one, but the very few that acquire a gun legally and then shoot people, or do stuff, and now
Mm.
guns are a
Or
problem.
let's talk about illegally, because
Hmm.
that shit happens. Not everyone's going to a gun store and getting
Oh
buying
yeah.
guns from a fucking gun store. There's ways to get shit illegally, and if you want to bring up like restriction on guns and like how that will save us. If we want to look at the UK, there's illegal um gun selling in the UK too.
Oh
So
yeah.
having a restriction on guns ain't gonna do shit.
Oh, and in Mexico too, guns are illegal.
Yeah.
Who has guns? The government and the cartel. Civilians, you're fucked. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Do you want that? Does anybody listening want that? You know what I mean? Like, and fun fact, our government they got caught selling guns to the cartel.
Mm.
Um, it is not a conspiracy. They are declassified documents. If you look up, it sounds funny, but Operation Fast and Furious, right? So we
Mm.
did like an undercover sting operation, right? And the
Mm.
plan was to sell all these thousands of guns to the cartel and then catch them, right? Well, all these guns went missing, quote unquote, and the operation failed, and the
Mm.
cartel kept the guns. Funny,
Mm.
right? Funny.
Yeah.
But, and just like the Middle East, the same terrorists that attacked us, right? Oh,
Mm.
by the way, it was 9/11 today. Never forget, bro. Never forget. But um, we sold, our government gave the guns to the same terrorists that attacked us, bro. We gave them money. Our highly
Mm.
trained soldiers trained them.
Mm.
Like, it's just crazy, bro. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Like, dude, there's gangs. There's so many people that can get guns from the streets. So if all us civilians can't have access to guns, who has them? The government and the bad guys, right?
Mm.
Who's fucked? Us, bro. Us.
Mm.
I agree with you 100%, bro. And yeah, you know, and like the Second Amendment, literally, bro, it was to go against tyranny, right? So
Mm.
if we happen to have a president that's a dictator and all these people, we the people do not agree with him, we have the right to literally overthrow them. That's what that's for, bro.
Mm.
But they take our guns away. How are we gonna overthrow them, bro? How, right?
Mm.
So it is just giving more power to the government, and we slowly but surely been giving them more and more power. You know, they're not
Mm.
gonna take our guns in one day. They're just gonna do it very slowly, generation by generation, bro. And all these things happening, the media blows it up because
Mm.
you got to keep people scared, right?
Mm.
You got to keep people stupid, scared, and loyal, right? That's how you
Mm.
control the population, right? You have them
Yeah.
in a prison, but they don't know they're in a prison, bro. They think they're free, But
Yeah.
I'm just going off tangent here.
Another thing I want to bring up is the shit with the ICE and the deportations and
Oh
shit like
yeah,
that.
that's wild.
And my thing with it is, if we want to look at statistics and by the way, same people are that are so against all this shit happening
Hmm.
and saying that like because I've seen a lot of shit of people are like, oh, Barack Obama's better. He
Oh
has
no, I
more
disagree.
he has more deportations than Trump does.
True.
He has deported more than Trump has.
I agree.
And
And he did start the kids in cages too. Trump just continued it.
mm, um the only reason why it's so severe right now, and I understand like everyone's the only reason why it's a lot meaner, I guess I would
Hmm.
put it, than it has to be is because when Biden was in office, our borders were wide open.
Yep.
And we um we're just letting people in. No background check, no nothing. Just
Wait, no
come on
background
and
check? Wasn't it
no.
refugees though that they were taking in, or was it just anybody from the border?
It was literally anybody.
Mm, I don't agree with that. I don't think they should have done that.
And
But
so that's the reason it's so harsh right now. And I understand people's like thing, and then like how it's being harsh, and I agree that tone it down a little. But it's unrealistic to just like, can you just leave? That's unrealistic to me. just 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 coming up to them, just can you please leave? That's unrealistic.
but I agree with you. But at the same time, it is racially motivated because when they say
Mm,
Trump is not a racist, right? He is
mm,
because he literally hired illegals. Well, his dad did would hire illegals to make their buildings and then not
mm,
pay them and be like, oh, well, I'll just fucking get you deported, get you arrested. You know what I mean? So that's how
mm,
they got so rich. They actually used illegal immigrants to get rich and not pay them, right?
mm,
Also, here in Arizona, when Obama was in office, I think, um, they tried to pass a law here, right?
mm,
So the next city over in Phoenix,
mm,
they try to pass a law, or no, here in Arizona, the whole Arizona, but they tried to pass a law that was called SP 1070, right? And so what the
mm,
law was, basically, if you looked illegal, the cops have the right to pull you over with no reason and search you without permission and detain you for no reason until they figure out if you're illegal or not. So they
mm,
tried passing that law, obviously didn't pass because it's violating your human rights, right? It's racial profiling,
mm,
straight up, right?
mm,
But there was a sheriff at Joe Arpaio and the cops in Phoenix. They were doing that. They were pulling people over that doesn't. And another thing is,
mm,
whenever people say immigrants, they just think of Mexicans, right? Because there's
mm,
people that are legal here from Russia, from Europe, but ICE is not
mm,
cracking down on them. You know what I mean? They're just
mm,
looking for brown people. But anyway, back to that SP 1070. The cops here were illegally detaining people, bro, and searching them, pulling them over illegally. And let's
mm,
say you left your wallet at home, right? And you're
mm,
brown, and they pull you over and detain you for 2 days in a fucking cell. How are you gonna prove where's your ID? And they don't let you go home. They're not gonna let you go home and get it. You know what I mean?
mm,
So they actually pressed charges on Joe Arpaio, and he also had
mm,
a lot of sexual allegations, and he quit his job. Right?
mm,
He backed down. Well, when Trump was in office, he came down to Phoenix, Arizona, and personally pardoned him. Kind of speaks for itself, right there, right?
mm,
Also, on another note, all these ICE crackdowns, I understand, I get it. Illegal immigration, this thing is getting out of hand because of open borders, right? But
mm,
ICE is literally doing what they were doing here in Arizona illegally, right? ICE is
mm,
literally detaining people, and dude, now they're doing that deportation without what's it called, when you don't even get a court case, like they just take you without due process. So, and that's why who's that one guy that was actually an American citizen got deported, and they made a big deal about that. So, just imagine being brown and you forgot your ID and you get fucking deported, bro. Like, it's definitely racially motivated. You know what I mean? Because if they're gonna do their job, at least do it right. At least do it legally. You know what I mean? Don't just fucking racially profile people and detain them because they're brown. But that's exactly what they're doing nowadays. That's what I don't agree with. You know what I mean? But I don't agree how the people act as well. Like in LA, the fucking riots and all that. Bro, they're just making Mexicans look bad. You know what I mean? They're gonna give other people reasons to be like, oh yeah, you see that? That's why they should be deported. You know what I mean? Like, don't destroy your city and burn cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think this whole
lock
thing
ice into stores.
Yes, bro. Yes. Like, this whole thing is fucking crazy, bro. And there's a lot of things I agree with. There's a lot of things I don't agree with. But, you can't deny it's fucking crazy, bro. We're living in crazy times, dude. And do I know the solution? Fuck no. I'm just saying my opinion, you know what I mean? But go ahead, bro.
Centered around the main argument everyone wants to fucking bring up. That no one's illegal on stolen land. That fucking argument.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
Yeah.
Because there's nowhere you're gonna go in this entire fucking world that hasn't been stolen or fucking conquered or fucking bought or fucking passed along.
Yeah.
In this entire world.
Yeah, so like California and Arizona, like all these states that used to be Mexico, it was actually bought by the United States. So people do misinterpret that it was stolen. It was bought. But and it's in history books.
And then as for like Native Americans, as we took their land, they were taking other Native tribes' lands.
True.
It was just, what was the thing at the time? Conquering. Getting more land.
Divide and conquer. I agree. Just like the Mayans and the Aztecs in Mexico before the Spanish came and took over, right? They were doing that too. They were going to other tribes and killing them and taking their land. You know what I mean? But yeah. But that's humans for you, bro. That's been going on since we were cavemen, But yeah, I agree. But yeah, bro. Any other thoughts?
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah. And if they don't like our opinions, they could go fuck themselves. I'm just kidding. Opinions, bro, But they'll get you in trouble, man. We seen it a couple days ago. It happens, but it's the freedom of speech, and we're expressing that right now. You know what I mean? And I love that how we could have a conversation. Like, there's some things we don't agree with each other, but like, we're not like, oh fuck you, like, and just fucking slander. You know what I mean? People are so immature nowadays, bro. I agree with that. Especially with the internet. A lot of people are behind that screen and they get ballsy. But a lot of people, what they say in the internet, they won't do that in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I agree with you. And looking forward to do another podcast episode, bro. We'll talk about more shit. Could talk about gaming, whatever. I'm down for whatever, bro. All right, Honorable. Any last thoughts?
I'm gonna go to bed. It's late.
Wise words. I'm gonna go to bed. All right, man. That was a great conversation, bro. You have a good night, bro.
Yeah, you too.
All right, peace.